Chapter 25 to 26. Yuto quickly returned to the land of hot water. The land of Frost's territory was small, and when Yuto crossed the border, the sky was only just beginning to lighten. Using the last cover of night, he found a valley and raised his fist, smashing it downwards. Using his chakra-enhanced strength on his wrist, the ground trembled slightly, creating a 2-meter-deep pit. Bang, 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 bang. Another series of punches hit the ground. Soon, an L-shaped underground structure appeared in front of him, with the deepest part reaching 40 meters below the surface. Yuto's hands were wrapped in a glowing blue light, a medical ninjutsu similar to the chakra scalpel, perfect for cutting tumors off a patient's surface, but now used to smooth out the tunnel's soil. Flattening the protruding rocks in the pit, Yuto activated a scroll, releasing blocks of red wood. These trees, growing in the southern red forest of the Land of Fire, were moisture-resistant, insect-proof, and soundproof, making them the best material for the outer walls of an underground base. After building the walls, Yuto sealed the soil and rocks he had dug out into a scroll, planning to dispose of them elsewhere. The subsequent work was detailed and tedious. Multiple security devices, deadly traps at the underground base entrance, ventilation and sewage pipes, and emergency escape tunnels. Yuto even buried a significant number of explosive tags at the deepest point. These were self-destruct mechanisms powerful enough to collapse the entire underground base, burying all evidence. Finally, Yuto placed the tools he had bought from the bounty station in the secret base. 6 large medical tanks were lined up, facing a long metal table covered with various medical tools and instruments. Everything in order, Yuto exhaled lightly and lay on the ground. The dim oil lamp burned slowly. An underground chamber always conjures thoughts of eerie darkness, but to Yuto, this place was more comfortable than the Hyuga clan grounds. This was entirely his own, a secret base. At this moment, he was the only one here, but with the outbreak of war, this place would no longer be lonely. I made a lot of money, but it's still not enough, thought Yuto, as he lay on the ground. According to his plan, he needed 6 more secret bases. All these bases would be in small countries, more specifically, each small country bordering the Land of Fire. Yuto planned to establish an underground stronghold in each to store medical tools and supplies. The upcoming Third Shinobi World War would last 3 years. Yuto didn't know which battlefields he would be sent to, so, like a cautious rabbit, he decided to set up secret bases in all possible locations to store and research his spoils of war. Yuto lay down for a while and dozed off. The underground environment made it hard to sense time, and when he woke up, his head felt a bit groggy, clearly from oversleeping. He knocked his head, sat up, and started planning his next move. It had been about 2 days since he killed the wealthy defector in the Land of Hot Water. Such public figures' deaths spread quickly, so the upper echelons of the Land of Fire and Konoha would certainly know the assassination target was dead. Konoha shinobi missions were not indefinite. Generally, assassinations required reporting back within 5 days. Considering unforeseen circumstances like being pursued by strong enemies, the reporting time could be extended to 10 days. But for Yuto, this time was clearly not enough. Doing village missions could never be as profitable as getting high bounties from the bounty station. Besides, if the next mission required a team, it would be hard for Yuto to find an excuse to act alone. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he had to make more money and establish 2 more bases. Yuto took out paper and a pen and, after careful consideration, began writing a letter to Tsunade. Dear Sensei, I have completed the mission but had a sudden inspiration regarding the new jutsu while returning to the village. Therefore, I want to stay outside for a while longer. I will definitely return within a month. When you receive this letter, the news of the assassination target, Asokawa Hiroshi's death, should have reached Konoha. Please convey my greetings and apologies to the Hokage. Also, Sensei, I saw a beautiful jade in the land of hot water, said to bring good luck. After checking the content of the letter and confirming there were no mistakes, Yuto left the base, put on a cotton coat, and walked alone into the snow until he crossed over a dozen mountains before stopping. He put his thumb in his mouth, bit it, and then pressed his whole hand against a tree, summoning jutsu with a bang. After a puff of white smoke, a peculiar creature appeared, about the size of an adult's torso. Its appearance was that of a soft-bodied creature, somewhat like a shellless snail, with small eyes at the ends of its two antennae, both a bit disgusting and inexplicably cute. This was Tsunade's summoning beast Katsuyu. Of course, this was just a small part of the giant Katsuyu. After becoming Tsunade's disciple, Yuto signed a blood contract for summoning in the 3rd month. Ah, Yuto-kun, it's so cold here. Katsuyu started shivering as soon as it appeared in the icy wilderness. Its soft body looked increasingly stiff, almost like it was about to freeze. What a nice voice, Yuto thought mischievously, respectfully saying, Katsuya-sama, sorry for summoning you here. To be brief, I would like you to deliver a letter to my sensei. Katsuyu swallowed the letter. Just as it was about to disappear, Yuto stopped it. Katsuya-sama, wait. Please also deliver this jade pendant to my sensei. It's a beautiful warm jade said to bring good luck. Haha, my sensei loves good luck. The jade pendant was something left behind by a group of bandits, kept as a treasure by their leader. It was indeed beautiful, warm to the touch, and even had a natural character pattern on it, making it perfect for Tsunade. Whether as a senju or a gambling addict, the blonde woman would likely appreciate it. When out of money, it could be a valuable item to pawn for another round, full of both aesthetic and practical value. The essence of being a good disciple lies in these seemingly insignificant details. Yuto, the little rascal, never missed an opportunity to touch his teacher's heart. Yuto-kun is so thoughtful. Katsu was a gentle summoning beast, very kind to people. Unlike the violent snake and rogue toad, it was often compared to because of Tsunade. It saw Yuto as a kohai. It swallowed the jade pendant and vanished with a bang. After Katsuyu left, Yuto breathed a sigh of relief. Being Tsunade's disciple was crucial. Just her protection and connections provided him with great convenience. When Yuto left the land of hot water and traversed the entire land of fire, the new year had already passed. The air was filled with lingering joy, and the heavy snow gradually ceased. In the uninhabited forest, it was peaceful and beautiful. A heavy snow heralds a good year. The end-of-year snow seemed to promise a prosperous future. Unfortunately, Yuto knew that the Third Shinobi World War was brewing. The conflicts between nations were irreconcilable, and a war that would engulf everyone was about to erupt. Konoha Year 56 marked a bloody beginning. During this journey, he didn't use high speed, and it took him 5 full days to traverse the land of fire. As he approached the border, after crossing several small mountain ranges, Yuto felt the air become significantly more humid. When he crossed over the mountains and entered the land of rain, the sky began to drizzle. The climate in the world of shinobi is unpredictable and cannot be analyzed using meteorological knowledge from his past life. The land of rain is located in the central part of the continent. Except for the southeastern direction, it has no high mountains. Logically, it should be windy, dry, and stuffy. However, the fact is that the land of rain is perpetually rainy. The sky is always a heavy leaden grey, damp and cold. It can be said that it's rainy all year round, making it unsuitable for human habitation. Moreover, this unfortunate country is located between the three major nations of fire, wind, and earth. Whenever there is conflict, the land of rain becomes the battlefield for the three major shinobi villages, causing great suffering. Very few children can safely reach adulthood. Amagakure struggles tenaciously in such a harsh environment. Many shinobi from Amagakure are skilled in assassination techniques and are often hired as assassins. The leader of Amagakure, Hanzu of the Salamander, is known as a demigod due to his strength. But these combat skills seem useless, as the land of rain and Amagakure still suffer greatly. Eternal rain is the tears of the deceased. Someone once remarked, after entering the territory of Amagakure, adjusted his attire. He didn't use the transformation jutsu, only wore dark goggles to cover his pure white eyes, and then removed his forehead protector, tying a dark blue headband to hide the caged bird curse mark. At this time, Amagakure was still under the rule of Hanzu of the Salamander. Although not as closed off as during the later Pain era, it still didn't welcome foreign shinobi. Hiding his affiliation with Konoha and the Hyuga clan was beneficial. In less than half a day, Uto arrived in Amagakure. Under the leaden sky, continuous rain fell. Below it, towering, straight, and menacing steel buildings stood tall. Numerous metal pipes were exposed outside, resembling mythical roaring serpents. Chimneys spewed steam, and cables traversed the air, giving off a strange punk aesthetic. The shinobi world truly has many people who understand art, Yuto thought as he stepped into Amagakure. To a village plagued by constant war and assassination techniques, Yuto, cloaked in a black robe with even his eyes covered, was not particularly unusual. No one paid special attention to him. The few pedestrians on the street wore thick trench coats, most with gloomy expressions, hurrying along, lacking the leisurely atmosphere of Konoha. Uto didn't wander around aimlessly. He found a street corner to avoid the rain and quietly observed the street, calming his body as Tsunade had taught him. He came to Amagakure to kill. Earning quick money from the bounty station was much more efficient than doing village missions. Although it was risky without support or teammates, completing one job would allow him to establish another secret base. Killing was not unfamiliar to Yuto Hyuga, although only 13. He had long since lost count of the number of people who had died by his hands. But coming to Amagakure to kill Amagakure, shinobi was a first for Yuto. Having no support or teammates meant he had no retreat or sufficient intelligence. He couldn't know his target's real-time location and had no way to understand the enemy's numbers or their preferred jutsu. However, Yuto knew that with patience, he would soon encounter his target. His wait didn't last long. At a certain moment, the sound of raindrops hitting the steel buildings was interrupted by a lot of noise. A large group of people was coming, in a crowd. Stop the war. Stop the killing. People need to communicate with each other. Build a bridge of hope towards world peace. Uto looked up, a slight smile on his lips. In the rain, marching down the street, were people holding signs. Most were dressed as civilians, their expressions excited, shouting hoarsely. But a closer look revealed a few individuals in standard, high-collared black trench coats walking among them, their eyes vigilant, clearly protecting the marchers. The young Hyuga branch family member crossed his arms, watching these people with interest. These individuals all belonged to the Akatsuki organization. The slogans of the marchers were created by Yahiko, the current leader of Akatsuki. Change the country, build a bridge of hope towards world peace through communication between people. This was the initial principle set by Yaheku when Akatsuki was founded. Though idealistic, it was not laughable. Yahiko's passionate vision filled this phrase. He inspired his companions with his fervor and influenced many more with his actions. At its inception, Akatsuki was a mercenary organization, but it already had a clear ideological attribute. Now, in the land of rain, Akatsuki's influence was growing daily, with more people joining the march. The name Akatsuki was gradually appearing in the reports of major forces. Similarly, many of its members were also appearing on the bounty lists at the bounty station. Yuto tilted his head, observing the march. He noticed that the Akatsuki shinobi were becoming increasingly tense. Looking closely, he could see their fingers already brushing against kunai, ready to act at any moment. The youth thought to himself, professional. This intersection was quite narrow, with 4 tall buildings blocking it. Clearly a perfect spot for an ambush. Boom! Sure enough, at that moment, explosions suddenly erupted. Several bursts of fire exploded, with huge shockwaves and flames evaporating the rain at the intersection, blowing the water hundreds of meters away. Dozens of figures suddenly appeared, emerging from the water or the walls, accompanied by sharp whistling sounds, all rushing towards a specific part of the crowd. Water release, water formation wall. The attacked person shouted loudly, quickly forming hand seals. Chakra surged out, forming a sturdy water wall, protecting themselves and the civilians. Escort the civilians away, they are coming for me. The attacked person was unafraid, clearly experienced with such situations. They jumped out, holding 2 bright white short daggers, and charged at the attackers. This person was Yuto's target, the current 4th-ranked member of Akatsuki, Takeda Takeshi.